Well, hello everyone, and welcome to She Said, He Said. John's having technical difficulties.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
That was me. That was me. I got you. I got it.
So our crew here today I'll be growing. I just realized I'm playing the oldie. I'm playing a different. I don't have to write intro going because I don't have the picture of Flynn.
I know, I was left out. But I figured maybe I'm a guess. Maybe I figured.
Sorry about that. We'll get that fixed next week. I've got like different versions, so I pressed the wrong one.
It's all good.
Anyway, guys, welcome to She Said, He Said, which you can find. He said, she said, he said. On
Easy for you to say.
In different kind of platforms. We're on Spreaker and Good Talk Radio and a whole bunch of other platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. And all you have to do is go down to the description below and figure out what platform you want to listen to us. In fact, you can even listen to us on Alexa. And
wow.
So with that in mind, today's subject is what would you do if you didn't have to work? And, there's a whole bunch of talk about this, universal basic income where people could just flourish on their dreams and their hopes and their ideas and not have to do that 40-hour thing. And so I thought, well, if that was to come up, and I'd like to see like different versions of how women would look at it and guys would look at it. If you had, and I'm going to start with Flynn. If you had 40 hours a week that were gone, you didn't have your insurance is covered, you get a check in the mail from the government, and you just wanted to flourish on something that's your American dream or your personal dream, what would that be?
I would say if I didn't have to worry about money at all, I would love to be just doing talk shows, doing the circuit.
Now, granted, most likely the money we get is going to be like a fixed income, like Social Security or something like that. But so we'd have to live within the means of the budget that.
Yeah, we couldn't go crazy.
Us. Yeah. So would you? Yeah. I mean, now the reason I asked that, let's go with George. George, what would you do with your 40 hours?
Well, believe it or not, I love teaching. I'm a good instructor. I love to teach, and if I were able to, and I probably could if I wanted, actually go back and actually teach in a university. So that would be I'd love to teach in a university and kind of, just be that kind of person. So that's me.
Would you do it for free?
I actually, believe it or not, if it meant that I was helping a cause or helping people that would actually really benefit from it, yes, I would do it for free.
And what would you want to teach?
There's several things. I mean, sometimes there's just people out there that just don't have real common sense. And I would just, maybe show them ins and outs of certain ways of dealing with things. And there's all kinds of aspects of it. But I would actually try to be more of a mentor to a lot of people so that way they can follow through with a good life.
Aww.
I think I need to sign up for that. I need to comment.
Yeah, exactly. Where do I sign up for that?
So, John, what would you do with all that free time?
Well, I kind of went through that when I got furloughed this summer or last summer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a year already. But I got furloughed from my company for 4 months. And so they were, I was getting the big unemployment check, and my medical coverage and everything was covered. So I kind of lived that life for 4 months. It was almost like I was retired,
Yeah.
But that's what got me into podcasting. And I think that's where I would go. I would just really focus on making my podcast better. And, because right now work gets in the way of that, right? I only have a couple hours to really invest into the content of my show, but I would definitely have more time to do that for sure.
And John and Flynn, you guys are both good at it. I love it. You guys are really good. Yeah. You got to have a good personality, a decent personality. You have to have a good heart. You got to know what you're saying. You got to be smart about certain things, and you got to know how to treat the people, so you guys both do that. So good on you. Good on you.
Thanks, George.
So what kind of shows would you do, Flynn?
I would probably stick to it. Like, look, I'm doing a podcast this Friday. I'm sticking about. I think I'm sticking probably to the love, sex, and intimacy, the dating. I think I'd stick to that.
Mhm.
I'm going to be. I'm going on Friday. I'm going to be a dating expert. So I would stick to the love. I would stick with the love.
So
The
do you
love
think if we got into a universal income type of thing, do you think that affect relationships or love or dating or romantic trips and stuff like that? I mean, would that affect it at all, or would
Well,
everything be the same?
Are you saying if we had the free, we got to do it? Is this a different question, or is this if we
Well,
had,
if you, I mean, so let's assume we don't have jobs. We're just getting $1,000 a week or something from the government. That's probably
Okay.
high, and that's it. And we have social probably social health of some sort.
Yeah.
So we may have to put a little bit of money into that and stuff. But basically, you would have cash in your wallet, just not probably as much as if you're, depending on the different types of jobs out there. But
Right.
if we all had pretty much the equal amount of money, how would that affect like relationships or
Romance?
or
It sounds like
romance
maybe some
or
free time to go on some trips, maybe. If I'm
Mhm.
hearing the question correctly,
yeah.
maybe you
So
could spend more time together. Take a
yeah,
walk to
but
the beach, or
of course you got to think this whole far. There's like, if nobody's working, how could we do the trips? How could we go out to dinner?
Well, there's ways to get around that. I mean, you don't have to go out to dinner to have a good time. You can actually have a picnic. You could do that on your. There's all kinds of ways to do it without having a lot of money.
walks on the beach.
Yeah, romantic
Would you have
times
to go out?
are how you spend it with that person.
Would you
And
have to
it's
go out
very-
and kill your own rabbit or kill your own
Yeah,
deer?
I would totally go out and kill my own rabbit. There you go. I mean, as long as there's nobody out there saying, "Why are you killing the rabbits? Save the rabbits." I would be okay with that. But I mean, the cheap bologna goes a long way. Cheap bologna goes a long way, baby.
Do you think
Yeah.
that's going to happen, Ranger Rob?
I don't know. It's just a scenario. It's just like I know how I kind of picture things in my head, how how that would work, but it's like I like to hear other people's opinions, and
Yeah.
and so I mean, if we went with a basic income and nobody had to work, could you imagine the differences in life? Like, would you be going to McDonald's to get a burger?
Probably not. Because unless it's really, really cheap, and sometimes
Yeah,
you
but
can
nobody's
No one to
working
serve
there.
you. Yeah,
but nobody's working there. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got to
In
think
the
about the
restaurant,
scenario
right?
here. In
Yeah.
the restaurants, there's
If you-
nothing going on.
If you want to go on vacation or a romantic trip, who's going to be there at the motels to check you in, or how do you get who's flying the airplane, who's driving the bus or taxi?
Yeah. Who's filling up the gas? Who's actually working at the gas station? What are you gonna do about that?
I fill up my own gas.
Well, I know, but there's nobody
guess we
there
would-
to actually be there to let the pumps run.
We would work off the kind of like the barter system, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
basically
Yeah.
you'd have to hop in your Conestoga wagon, hook up your oxen,
Yep.
and then hopefully if something breaks, there'll be a blacksmith along the way that you can trade, an elixir for a new axle or something.
Yeah.
Nobody to make the rubber wheels. I guess you are using wood or something, whatever you can make out of a wheel.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like
We go way back.
I mean,
Interesting scenario.
I keep hearing all these things. Oh, it'd be so neat to have a universal income and all that stuff, and none of us would have to work. We could go after our passions, and then it's like, okay, well, it's like I have certain passions like gardening or homesteading or stuff like that, but it's like, how in the heck would I do that when other people aren't doing other services or manufacturing? Because I mean, you can't automate all this stuff, can you?
Yeah, who would buy
No,
a
I think
poopy
we'd
bag?
go backwards. I think we'd go backwards in technology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
for sure.
Well, not necessarily like McDonald's. They could probably automate that, so you could just drive up. Well, I'm not sure if you'd be driving up because
Yeah, but who's going to deliver the food to McDonald's? That's not going to just show up.
Totally. So
a cow's just not going to show up and say, "Okay, here you go."
If the machinery breaks down, who fixes it? You've got to go backwards. You've got to go to the simpler times, I suppose.
Yeah. So
like caveman times.
Like George, you were talking about teaching.
So if we want a woman, we just go over there and knock her over their head and take her. Yeah, I like that. I'm down with that.
Ponytail.
Oh. Yeah.
No, I'm actually trying to look at the practicalities of could this actually happen, and what modifications would we have to make it happen? Because I mean, it's really something a lot of people are pushing for. They don't want to work anymore. They want to have a universal income. So great. I mean, all right.
Yeah, but someone's got to work because someone's got to send the check to the mail. Someone's got to get the money to your mailbox. Someone, you know what I'm saying? There will always be people working, regardless of what that looks like. And I think AOC and her pals that are pushing for universal income are really pushing more for like serf wages, because she's not going to give up her lofty paycheck. And none of these politicians are going to give up their lofty paychecks and their nice apartments and their fancy cars. They just want serfdom below them.
Probably. I can't imagine, because they'd have to step down to our level, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd be that thrilled to do that.
So affected wise, it would be very hard to actually have people do anything. You'd actually have to go out there and get the things that you need. So there would be, in my view, would be a lot of thievery. There'd be a lot of people going out there and just robbing you because they can, so, and that's where you're going to see a lot of that kind of thing turn around, where you will have a lot of robberies and murders, and it's could get insane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry, man. I want to eat. I want to knock somebody over the head, take their food.
You can do that in Seattle.
I was going to say that. You can do that in Seattle now.
Yeah, it's legal.
Yeah, no.
I was just watching some report. I think it was a Blaze TV where some state, Chicago area, I think, that policemen are not allowed to chase criminals anymore because so many things happen all the time. They get hurt. People get hurt. It's like they don't want them to let them go.
Yeah, they do that in California. If there's a high speed chase, they just peel back and let them go.
So, all right. So if you had 40 hours a week to work on your passion, like your teaching, George, or your online program, Flynn, or John's podcast, could you actually put 40 hours into that every week?
Most certainly.
Marketing for sure.
Oh yeah, I could definitely put 40 hours into that. There's no doubt. And then some. It takes a lot to be an instructor. It does. It really is a lot of ins and outs that you have to know, and then you have to be kind of emotionally ready for just about anything, because I've had to handle, pregnant women. Nothing against pregnant women, but pregnant women, elderly people, kids that come in, they're 18 years old, and the list just as much as I do, Rob. I've had to deal with hostile students, and I mean, gosh, I've had to call security for some hostile students because they got in fights, or there's always something that goes on. So it's not just teaching.
So
it's
you teach now. For example, George, you and I taught skills training for aerospace company.
Wow.
And to teach people skills.
Right.
Would that be relevant in a lifestyle like I'm describing?
Absolutely.
Why would I want a skill?
Well, I mean, it does.
I'm getting a paycheck already from the government. It's like, why would I want to learn how to be an electrician?
No, but you might want to learn how to sew so you can make yourself a pair of pants or something. Because last thing we need is Ranger Rob running around in the buck all day up there in Oregon.
Yeah, that would probably be scarier than it's worth. So.
Of course, my business.
Oh, but he did lose weight. He has lost weight. He looks good.
I have lost
he looks
weight.
good.
Sorry,
I know.
I'm getting
Not
skinny.
that I want to see you in a Speedo or anything, but you know.
Oh,
It
that's
is what it
cool.
is.
I don't know. That could be
time
fun.
I was pushing the 300.
I think so too, Flynn.
Yeah, why not? Too much Speedo. So in this scenario, would the garbage collectors not be working, and the police not be working, and firemen not be working? Like, would we lose all that too?
Yeah.
In this scenario,
Unless the government somehow subsidized people to be in, gave you incentive to, if you became a police officer or a nurse or something like that, that maybe you could be under some government program where you could get extra income or something. I'm not sure how that would work. I mean, there's other countries that have socialism and stuff. How do they do it?
Well, everybody works though in socialism. There's nobody that doesn't work. They just don't get paid anything.
Oh,
everything's equal. If you're the garbage man,
is there even a country out there that subsidizes everybody with a check?
No.
So how is there anybody we can compare it to? Denmark?
I mean, look at the Native Americans, right? They weren't nobody was getting a paycheck for the Native Americans, and they took care of themselves.
Yeah.
But it has to be at that level of the lack there of technology. You have to just live off of Mother Earth. You can't, you're not going to go down to the grocery store to get yourself a buffalo. You got to go out and you got to kill it. You got to make your spears. You got to figure it all out,
Yeah. So that would affect love and romance, because today's society, as far as what is expected as a male and or female, is like, because when we look back at the old days, we go, we don't want those morally men that want to kill things and be all that. They want more soft men and stuff like that. Would that change all of our relationships with our as far as spouse relationships? Do we want someone more hunter-gatherer type thing?
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Maybe
In this scenario,
maybe kill buffalo.
Yeah. So Flynn, like when you're dating or looking at what are you looking for in a man now under these conditions?
this scenario you're giving me?
No, actually, for right now, the way things are. And I'll ask the other guys, if you're looking for meeting a spouse or a girlfriend or something, what are some of the things you're looking for a person today that may not be relevant in that other scenario I've already described, as far as a different lifestyle? But would our women fit the same credentials? Would it change how our romance and how our relationships are and all that, or is today's level of relationships okay for that other scenario?
So am I answering how things are today? Like,
Yeah,
as we're getting out of COVID,
right today, everything
Uh-huh.
just right now.
I don't think it would change. I think in that scenario you gave me, that like kind of made up space scenario, like if we live someplace where nobody got had to work and got paid. But no, I think I'm looking for the same things now as I did pre-COVID. I don't think it's changed.
Yeah. So but if we fell back into a lifestyle where we'd end up having to cook for ourselves a lot, we probably would have to be a little bit more self-reliant and stuff.
Yes. Then I would want a guy that can cook for sure.
Yeah, I can cook.
But you wouldn't need one the way things are today, right?
Well, no, I think a guy that can cook is pretty sexy. It's pretty hot.
I agree. I cook.
Yeah.
That makes me.
You cook,
John? I love to cook.
John, are you a cooker?
I am. I do a lot of cooking.
So do I.
On the grill?
On both. Yeah.
Okay.
I know my way around the kitchen.
That's hot.
So, of course, the next question is like, would a housing be the same? Or would we have to,
I don't know, man. We probably have to make our own housing
to the government and then rent it back?
I did hear on that note, I did hear someone say that if you live on a house if you live on the beach in a house, that the government was going to buy the houses from people and then rent it. I'm like, what? In California.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, that's crazy.
California is going off the
crazy.
deep end. They are going full like socialism. It's
I don't know
outrageous.
what's going on, but all I know
nuts.
is my friend lives in Malibu, and he's like, I am not that, like, I would not be cool with the government buying my house and then renting it out. Like, and they make them, like, he was like, no. Yeah.
That's
So-
yeah.
And who's
So
to
why-
say they don't? I mean, they could get to a point to where they just take it.
I don't
Yeah.
They're
know.
not gonna do-
What do they call
That's
that?
kind of scary, isn't it?
Dominion.
it's very
or
scary.
Dominion or something like that. They call it, where they could do that if they had to.
What's it called?
It's called public domain.
There we go. Public domain. For example, when let's say you got a city and they want to put a bypass somewhere and it goes over people's property, but the ordinances and the government says we want that property. We know Mr. Smith owns 5 acres of a road we want to put across there. We're going to take it. We'll still give him some cash, probably what the market value is,
Mhm.
and we're just going to take his property. And that's pretty much what public dominion or domain.
Domain. Yeah,
Domain.
domain.
Yeah, I don't know why I got dominion. But anyway, yeah, it's kind
Dominion's those voting machines that are corrupt.
of yeah, those. so in California, what's the rationality of why people would want to, why the government would want to buy all the beach houses?
I guess to make a profit. I don't know. He just said that Democrats are talking about doing that. He's like, I mean, if you live on the beach, if you live on the water, I was like, wow, that sounds, they want to make the money.
It's not
Don't-
always. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out why they would want to do that because
They'll sell it to the Chinese. Is what they'll do.
probably.
They'll flip it. Yeah, I'm telling you, they are selling beachfront property and naval bases and everything to the Chinese. It's happening in this country.
That is absolutely true.
In
That's
California, it is.
Mhm.
Well, they probably don't mind doing that because if they went to the new system and the government took everything back, then it'd take it from the Chinese too, right? They'd get it all back in the line. At least, maybe not without a fight, but
When you're $27
Yeah.
trillion in debt to China, they have the upper hand.
true. Unless you're foreclosed, right?
Well, yeah, but then our credit rating dumps, right? The country's credit rating dumps. I don't know if that means anything, though.
I know.
No, not really. Not
All they
right
got to
now.
do is press the print button on the moneymaker.
I want one of those really bad. I
It's
want
gonna
one
get
of
to
those
the point
better.
where money is not going to mean anything anymore.
I know.
We're getting
Yeah,
to
it's
that point now.
Yeah, we are.
I saw in LA, some gas stations are like $6 a gallon in LA.
I paid $4.44 for 87.
Ooh,
Okay.
Wow.
So
it's
Flynn,
still-
you're right
we-
in there in the area that's really kind of feeling some of the stuff I'm talking about. And how are you overall feeling about how things are changing in California?
No, I know it's I was in Florida, because my grandmother, but I was in Florida during COVID, and it was better to be in Florida than here because people, things were open. Life was still happening, you wore masks, but life was still, as we know it, things are starting to finally open up here in California.
Yeah,
But,
and here too in Oregon, we're kind of got a governor that's been kind of stringent, and but yet we're it's kind of funny. I'll go to one store, they don't care if you have a mask at all. Home Depot, and you go to Bimart, and they're still got signs up, and it's like,
Well, you live in Greater Idaho, don't you, Rob?
no, I'm in Central Oregon, the east side.
They're talking about
Greater
breaking
Oregon,
up the
yeah, I got you.
Greater Idaho, yeah.
Yeah. Still, so
The
it's kinda
conservative
funny
part.
'cause we have a lot more conservatives over here. So if you go to like a smaller hardware store and stuff, they're just laughing. You're like, you don't have to wear a mask in here. I hope you know. They actually make fun of you. It's like, cool, I love it.
And in Texas, it's basically everybody. And there's no mask mandate, but a lot of the stores and medical facilities ask that you do wear it up until they feel that that it's actually contained, which it has been. Our numbers have gone way, way, way down.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot easier to go out and just go have a nice meal
Yeah.
now, and
Yeah.
mask free, and
You know,
it's been so nice.
I'm going
even
over to New Mexico to meet up with some friends that I YouTube with, some of my YouTube buddies. I'm going to meet up with them. And I had to call to get because I was having trouble booking the room online. So I called them, and I had to go through a 15-minute spiel over there about how I had to stay 10 feet away from everybody, and I had to wear masks even in the parking lot. And like the guy's going on and on and on and on. And New Mexico is still, man, they're crazy over there as far as
they are. Absolutely.
And here in Arizona, we're open. I mean, we can do whatever we want to do here in Arizona, for the most part. There are some little pockets of, of that stuff still going on, but for the, Tucson and stuff, but the vast majority of this state is wide open. So it's like I'm going back into the dark ages, going over there.
Has everyone here been vaccinated?
No. I got the antibodies.
I don't know how to answer that. Don't know if I want to.
I had a very long discussion with my neurologist, and
you guys have not been vaccinated?
No, but I identify as being vaccinated.
I identify as Black.
Yeah.
So none of y'all have been vaccinated?
Negative.
Actually, I have been because like I said, with my neurologist, the way we talked about how COVID could actually make it even worse for me to survive. I mean, even though it's that I am definitely against vaccinations, I had to do it, not just for my own sake, so that I could actually survive my illness that I have now. I have Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it's very aggressive right now. And if I had even had a hint of COVID, I could have easily died. Not because of that, because of the neurological issues that I could have had with it. So I did get vaccinated against my better judgment.
Why? Why would you not want to be vaccinated?
Because it's ruined my life before. That's what caused it to begin with.
Yeah.
So I got I have what's called CIDP. It's chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, and I got it via a tetanus vaccination.
Oh, so you had a real bad experience with the vaccination.
Yeah. Oh, you have no idea. I mean, I went from extremely healthy to wheelchair, walker, cane.
Wow. So that came from a tetanus shot vaccination?
Yes, came from a tetanus shot.
I'm so sorry. And
so ever since then, I've gone through a lot of remission, and I've had since 2000, I've had like 17 years of really, really good, remission, and vaccination free, no flu shots, no other vaccination ever in my life, other than the ones that I've had previously. And then this is the first vaccination I've had in 17 years.
Flynn, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because you're asking about vaccinations, right?
Well, I just assumed everybody's getting vaccinated. I don't think it's
that's fine.
Thing.
That's fine. Let's say this, Flynn, let's say you're dating a guy, right? And let's say you had a hysterectomy. You can't get pregnant. And so this guy that you're dating he has no sexual diseases or anything like that. Would you still make him wear a condom so you don't get pregnant?
If we went and got tested, if we both went and got tested and we were fine, then no, I would make him wear a condom.
Of course. So why should I get a vaccination if I've got the antibodies?
Oh, well, did you already have COVID?
I already had the COVID. Yeah, about 3 months ago. And they say that the antibodies last longer than the shot.
Vaccination itself. Yeah,
because everyone that got vaccinated is going to need a booster in about 6 months.
Right.
Why should I do that if my antibodies, they may last my entire life? They don't know.
So your doctor said if you have had COVID, you don't need to get vaccinated?
As long as I test positive for antibodies, yeah.
And Rob, how about
it's like wearing a condom if you have a hysterectomy. It's pointless.
Well, I'm big on condoms more for STDs and AIDS and all that kind of stuff.
But I'm saying to avoid pregnancy.
Oh yeah. And so you, Ranger Rob, do you have the antibodies?
I don't know.
He's never had COVID or.
Not that
He's
I'm
ever been
aware of.
tested for it?
No.
You just
And his isolation too is really very. I mean, you're being out the sticks like that. You're not going to have a ton of encounters either.
If I had if I had anything whatsoever, you're talking to a person that has no prescriptions, no ailments, no allergies, no anything. If I had anything I was concerned about, that especially it has to do with bronchial or anything like that, I'd probably get one.
right.
But I'm probably because I worked on fishing boats and dirty jobs and cars, and I've been rolling in the dirt for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you have an immune system.
I don't get the flu. I hardly get sick. And it's like, and I'm not, and I have taken all the normal vaccines throughout life, through life.
So you've had a good experience with vaccines.
This one's still it's not one that is totally certified. And it's like, before I'm going to let them put that into my body, I'm going to wait and see, because I'm hearing and seeing some pretty crazy things. And here I am with a perfectly healthy body, perfectly at my age, and I can do anything, and to be hit with that thing and be messed up the rest of my life, I would be very angry.
It will compromise.
I would rather die from
Well, yeah. Who's having? I know J&J. Like some women came forward with some blood clots. But has anything happened with Pfizer? Is that one okay?
There's been over 8,000 people that have died from it.
Yeah,
from Pfizer.
Yeah.
Well, from any of the vaccines, a total of over 8,000 people have died from it. Multiple people have had gone into anaphylactic shock. Blood clots have caused. It's caused blood clots.
The blood clotting I heard from Johnson & Johnson. Of course, I've heard that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about that.
It's still on the market. They're still pumping that into people.
Yep, they are. And the reason a lot of these things that go on, they don't really hear a lot of the fine, the writing in the low, small writing in the paperwork that says, you can actually acquire Guillain-Barré syndrome. You can actually do this. You can do that. What I was told at one time when I actually went against the pharmaceutical companies in order to be able to have a settlement for my case,
yes,
was that what's good for the many people is not always good for the one, and
right.
And it's so they will take the losses over the actual amount of people that get vaccinated. So how about all those people that actually take those losses, that lose lives, that lose family members, and I could go on and on. I'm not going to. But,
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's really clear that I'm not
absolutely
against it.
No.
I have a mother-in-law who's in a nursing home. She's at that 83 years old. She needs protection, and she did get the vaccine, and that is so appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I mean, totally. I'm for that.
Yeah, my grandmother won't get the vaccine.
Really? And the data says that
I'm set in their ways, man. And I mean, I don't blame her.
More susceptible to having problems from COVID.
Here's the thing about it. Okay, Rob, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but here's the thing about it, because I talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah, I know.
There have been millions and millions of people who have gotten COVID.
Yeah.
And we know this much about who is susceptible and who isn't, because there are 85-year-old cancer patients who've come down with COVID in hospitals and have walked away from it a week later. And then there were perfectly healthy people, so supposedly perfectly healthy people in their 30s or 40s who have died from it, or supposedly died from it. So we don't know who is susceptible and who isn't. I have a personal friend that we were just at the casino last weekend. His wife got COVID and she was very sick from it. He sleeps in the same bed with her. He eats at the same dinner table. He shares the same home with her. He has never gotten it. And not only has he not had any effects from it or symptoms, but he's been tested and he has never tested positive from it.
Wow.
And she got tested, and she did test positive, and she lost the taste and smell and all that type of stuff like I did. So if they share the same bed and they're breathing on each other, sharing the same breath and air and everything, why hasn't he gotten it? And that can't be the only situation where that's happening.
Right. No, I've heard another couple where the wife had it and the husband didn't get it. But my stepmother got it, and then my dad got it.
Okay, but
Yeah.
why?
Same here.
Why?
Same here.
Why
Same
aren't
here.
people
Same thing
getting
happened with us. I had a friend that died, a very close
I'm
friend
sorry.
here in Texas, El Paso, and she was a wonderful lady. Went to, I'm not sure exactly, I can't remember. I think Richmond. She was in Virginia, and came back, caught COVID, probably over there. She was still sleeping with her husband right there, the whole time. For the next 7 days. 7 days later, she was dead, just because
Yeah.
she had outlying conditions. Though she had bronchial issues, and that's what killed her. But her husband, he tested negative. I mean, he tested the whole time. He tested, and he was negative the whole time. So he never really caught anything. But he was very healthy. He was
why aren't
healthy
they
as a
telling
horse.
us? Why aren't they telling us who is and who isn't susceptible? Why are they treating everything with blanket treatments? Why, the whole email dump that just came down from Fauci's emails, they said there were people that were telling Fauci that the hydroxychloroquine actually works. And he said that he never reported it because the email was so long he didn't read it. And this was back a year ago that we were being told that hydroxychloroquine mixed with zinc works. And he's been denying it ever since. So let's be real. I mean, is this political? Is this not political? And if this isn't political, then why is Gavin Newsom going to the French Laundry with 25 of his best friends unmasked to have dinner? He only apologized after he got caught.
So, Flynn, when you were in Florida, and I assume that you were over there for how long?
About 2 months.
2 months. And then you came back to California.
Yeah.
And so I want to, because we still talk about relationships on this show. So when you got from a lot more freedom to California, where it's definitely changed, have you, and you're in dating or meeting anybody, is it different than Florida?
Well, yeah, because in Florida, it was business as usual.
Yeah.
I mean, people did wear the masks, but stores were open. You could go to places. There was inside dining. So, you could date. I wasn't really dating too much in Florida. I was just there with family and dealing with that. But now California is kind of like Florida in that we can dine inside. We're just doing the social distancing. So you can date in California now.
Yeah.
You can actually go to a restaurant inside.
Yeah.
It's just,
So you kind of bluntly hit, like, for me, if I was to really answer you, if I didn't love you a lot, I would have told you it was none of your business about my vaccination thing. But since it's you, I answered that.
Oh.
But second is, if you're dating, is that one of your questions you'd ask somebody you're dating? Are you vaccinated?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I ask that to anybody, even if I'm in the car. I was in an Uber last night.
Okay. So my next question is, why does it matter? If you're vaccinated, right? Why would you care if I was vaccinated?
Oh, I think just to be safe. I like the security of it. I think like knowing the person's been vaccinated. It's kind of a question.
Any scientific reason, any logic whatsoever?
No, I don't know enough about it. I just know that I would feel more comfortable if the person I'm around has been vaccinated.
Do you ask them if they've had AIDS or have AIDS?
If I'm dating them, I do, and we've got that point where we're going to be in an intimate situation. I do ask that we both get tested. Yes, for everything.
Smart. Very smart.
For everything.
I'm thankful I'm married. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? I got a fiance. Me too. I am super thankful. I got a fiance.
And I'm not bad. I'm not saying anything bad about not being. I'm just glad I am. I don't want to put up with that stuff.
That'd be so hard. It's so different than when we were younger. And,
Well, you can
that's
get STDs.
why it's fascinating to talk to you, Flynn, because you see a world we don't. Our world was totally different when we were dating. And call us old fashioned or whatever, but it was totally different than what you guys are up against in this new social world. And sometimes you're more honest about things and open than we would be back in our day. So
it's like a job interview.
It seems a
first
lot.
date.
It does, man. It's like it seems like so much harder now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I
don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I better bring all my paperwork. I better bring all my paperwork to my date.
Yeah.
I had a bit when I was doing stand-up where I would say, I just have 3 questions to ask you before we close the deal. Can you just grab out of your nightstand, your blood work, your FICO score?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you should get like one of those sheets from the doctor to check off all the illnesses. Have you?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Oh, wait. I know you didn't check this one off. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to close this right here. We're done.
If you didn't know what a FICA meant, he was out the door.
Wow.
It made me spit. That was good.
They are up to FICO 9, right? The 9th edition of FICO scores?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're out. Sorry.
See, that's it. There you go.
Oh my.
I don't know how many editions. I just know the numbers.
I made 40. I made 40.
Oh, that's very good.
I'd be good. I made 40.
Hey, I'm
because I pay my damn bills.
But then I would say, however, comma, if he's seen a dental professional within the last 6 months, we can negotiate.
I see a dentist every 4 months.
Floss regularly and brush thoroughly, we can negotiate.
That's a big deal, man.
So he's a 535, but he brushes and flosses.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. No, I've been kicking it up.
And he's driving his mom's car.
600.
He's got high dental hygiene. That's impressive.
I would have to be a high 600 with the hygiene.
It's like Daniel LaRusso. He shows up for the date and his mother's driving.
There you go. That's okay. It's all right. Is mom hot? She can join the party. Mom's hot. She can join the party. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
So one thing I want to make sure with Flynn is what I really admire about you is your honesty, and 2, you really do come a different generation than the 3 of us. So to us, sometimes when you tell us, we're going, oh, you're kidding. At the same time, when we tell you what we've done back in our day, you go, oh my gosh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
It's amazing, actually.
Well, I have a friend that his wife passed away, and we had dinner last night.
Yeah.
And I asked him how dating was for him now than what it was 40 years ago. And he said it's the same. I'm like, really? He's like, it's the same. I'm like, internet dating? He's like, it's really the same. He thinks it's the same. I don't know how it could be possibly to be the same from 40 years ago.
If he's dating people his age, I could see where, because a lot of us, we write off some of this stuff, like this COVID and stuff like that. At our age, I look at COVID as, if I get it and God says it's time for me to go, I'm happy to go.
Right.
I'm not afraid to die.
See, people have been dying since I can remember. And I don't mean to sound callous there, but people die. People die from heart disease. People die from cancer. People die. Yeah. All of a sudden, when someone dies from COVID, it's like the end of the world. No, people die every day. They die in car accidents. They die. They get hit by lightning. People die every day. So why all of a sudden is dying to COVID somehow unjustified?
Yeah.
It's nuts to me.
Well, what did you think about the Spanish flu? Did you think that they handled that properly?
I never really thought about the Spanish flu. When did that happen?
I think it was in the late 20s.
Yeah, I'm not that old.
Early 1900s, I believe.
Yeah, 1929.
It was around the time that they're building the Hoover Dam, so somewhere.
Maybe 1919.
Now I'm going to say something that may come across controversial, but I can tell you they did not handle the AIDS epidemic correctly.
No, they didn't.
No,
they didn't. No, not at all.
They didn't know enough. They didn't know what they were doing.
They still don't know, but there's a million people that die in Africa every year from AIDS. And do you think the world cares? Do you think when some little baby dies over in Zimbabwe, anybody gives a crap? But if grandma dies from COVID, it's the end of the earth. It's the end of the world. You got to shut the businesses down. You got to close this, close that. You got to live off of a government income. We'll send
AIDS,
you for.
I think is a sexually transmitted disease, and I think
is it?
I believe so. And I think that COVID is an airborne.
Virus.
Yeah, but what's the difference? Who cares? Who cares how it changes from body to body? What's the difference? People are still dying from it. Isn't that the end result? They're still dead. And from what I understand, people that die from AIDS is a horrible death.
True.
Well, now they have now if you have AIDS, at least in America, there's cocktails and you can survive.
Well, not with AIDS, HIV, yes, but not AIDS. AIDS, if you get AIDS and it's to the extreme, well, not to the most extreme.
You mean
yeah,
HIV positive, you can be okay, but if you get AIDS, then it's too late.
AIDS
Right.
is too late.
Yeah.
They'll probably end up dying of pneumonia or something that's actually.
It's kind of funny how we have kind of a selfish attitude in the United States about like that when we do have so many millions of people that are suffering from other things and they're getting the COVID over there too, but they're dealing with stuff that we can't even imagine, and they're not even getting the chances to even get some of these treatments and some of these drugs that we do. So it's really sad. And for example, it's like we've been hearing a little bit about India. And,
I know
that is so sad because here we are. We got drugstores just waiting to give out COVID stuff, and nobody's getting it because a lot of us don't want it. Just those who wanted it got it, and the rest of us are going, yeah. And that's how it's going to be. And so I'm pretty sure we could start helping out India now. So anyway, because it's really sad that that's going on, but. I don't know how I got away from my universal basic income to this.
Well, I think your topic was, what if you didn't have to work, right?
Yeah. And actually all this stuff, it falls into that. It's like even the deal with all these things is like, of course, we'd be a little bit more secluded in a world like I was describing earlier. So we probably wouldn't have so many of these problems or as many concerns. But I do find it interesting. And I love to, especially Flynn, and it's not putting on the spot, but I can't get over how people justify that if I don't get vaccinated and I go into the store and other people are vaccinated and I'm not wearing a mask, why would they freaking care?
Since they're vaccinated.
Yeah, since they're vaccinated.
Because people don't necessarily believe that the vaccine works. That's why they're not confident in the vaccine because they know they've been fed lie after lie after lie from Dr. Fauci, and they're fed up with it.
Yeah. And by the way, if I see people wearing a mask, I certainly am not upset seeing them. Even if they said no more masks are required and people wearing masks, I would not be upset about seeing people wearing masks. I want them to feel comfortable. And if I feel comfortable not wearing a mask and not being vaccinated, that's my personal business. That's my personal life. That's my accountability.
Well, what are they going to do? Are they going to call the cops on you? I doubt that's going to happen because guess what? They're not going to chase you.
Well, I think come June 15th, I think that we're going to be not having to wear the mask anymore.
Yeah, well, I've heard that before.
You think we're going to wear it?
I've heard that before, and then they'll drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. But, a lot of places, like I said here, I could actually go in like a Home Depot or Lowe's. They'll let me go in without any mask. But there's certain places that you have to go. They still require you to wear a mask. And I find that that's fine. I'm not going to make a big fuss over it because it's just not worth the effort to make a big fuss. But
Right.
they do all with their masks, and I accommodate them just simply because I'm not going to, make it into a big issue. It's not that difficult for me. I do what I have to do in the store and then get out, and then I'm mask free again.
Do you feel safe, Navy Boy George, with the vaccination?
Without a mask, I'm fine. I mean, I felt that way before. It's just the only reason I had to get vaccinated is because my fiance is a preschool teacher. She had to have her, exposure to kids that had COVID. She had exposures to them. So in all good faith, just to be able to make sure that she didn't bring it home to me, we made a decision to go ahead and get vaccinated together. That way we knew, because my immune system's definitely compromised. There's no doubt.
Of course.
I could end up with bronchial issues. I could end up with it. Just about anything on the list is my possibility. And believe me, you don't know how hard I fought this mentally. I fought it and fought it and fought it and fought it.
That'd be
Like I
really
said,
hard for you.
This is the hardest vaccine I've ever had to get in my life. I'm telling you right now. And
Wow.
that's I have
Considering
not
what you
been
went through.
vaccinated in 21 years.
Wow.
21 years. I have never had a vaccination. And
John,
what has happened to me? The
John,
worst I've had is caught a cold.
John, I want to make sure and give you your escape hole to do your show if you need to go.
I don't have to leave until my show's at 8. So
Oh, super. Nice.
Okay.
I always love having John in the show. He's very informative, and he's doing shows about these subjects.
And by the way, speaking of that, Rob, thanks for that's a good little segue.
Yeah.
I actually have a healthcare worker that's going to be on my show tonight.
I saw that.
She's an RN from Houston, and she is actually fighting her hospital that she works for down there. It's a Houston Methodist Hospital. They told all their employees that they either get it or they're fired. It's the first healthcare organization, in the United States that has laid the law down. And she and 127 people, I think, have signed on to a lawsuit. They're actually suing to protect their jobs because these are healthcare workers, and they see what's really going on out there. And she's terrified of it. She's already had COVID. She's got the antibodies, and they're still trying to force her to get a vaccine that she's opposed to. So I think it's going to be she's been on national news, Fox News, all across the country. And so she's going to be on my show. Like Fox News, they typically give someone 3 to 4 minutes of time. She's going to be on the show for the entire hour tonight. So it should be very fascinating.
Yeah, I'll try to watch. That should be
Same here.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm excited to have her on.
I feel
on
really
the vaccine note, totally random, but my 19-year-old stepdaughter has shingles.
Oh, wow.
Kidding.
Wow. At 19.
That's young for shingles.
Heard of a 19-year-old getting shingles?
No.
I've never heard of that. Never.
Did she ever have chicken pox?
No, she was vaccinated with the chicken pox.
Because she never had chicken pox.
And that might be why she's got shingles.
Exactly.
Because of the chicken pox vaccination.
You think?
Yes.
Because her body never had the antibody. Yeah, exactly.
Guaranteed.
They never let her get it, the chicken pox. See, when we were kids, Beck, I called you Flynn. When we were kids, if the neighborhood kid had chicken pox, all the parents sent their kids over to that house to get chicken pox.
Yep.
Because you know how it was, Rob. That's the way it was.
Yeah,
they called them chicken pox parties, and you would go hang out with the kid with chicken pox.
I know exactly what we did. We'd all have it. One got it. We all got it.
Yeah, it was like when my kid had both of my kids got chicken pox at the same time. I was chasing them around with this old big video camera because it was the funniest thing ever. And so that's how life was back then. It's like, oh, it's here. My kids have got it, and you show off
immunity is a real
the
thing.
whole works, and it's a normal phase of life, and now it's
the immune system's amazing. You guys, I've never seen anything like it, and I've read up so much on it because of my condition. And I tell you what, it does amazing things. And when you introduce a foreign thing to your body, sometimes it can do damage, and sometimes it could be good for you in certain aspects, but in other aspects, all you're doing is throwing garbage in your body. And your immune system sometimes can take over and do the rest of the work if it has help in certain things. Like you get exposed just slightly to something, your immune system builds up the antibodies, and then it fights its own way. You don't have to worry about, getting, tetanus shots do have some nasty stuff in it. If you read up on them, chicken droppings, mercury, all the kind of things that they put in a lot of these vaccinations, and people don't even know it.
Now, since you guys are so anti-vaccine,
no, not anti-vaccine.
Wait.
Anti-vaccine.
Careful. We're not.
Okay. We're not anti-vaccine.
She did get the COVID vaccine. So, do you think that could have had anything to do with it?
I don't think so.
No.
No, your
stepdaughter.
Your niece.
Here's the thing. but we're different
Stepdaughter.
generations, so we see life a little bit differently. But when I was a kid, you went to the playground and you played on the playground all day long, and then you went home, or you ate something, and then you went home, you drank out of the water hose. And I'm not being silly. This is this is how it was. And now kids, I mean, even before COVID, every mom was walking around with hand sanitizer. And if the kid went and touched the swing, come here, Bobby,
Hand sanitize.
hand sanitize everything and wipe their face off with the Lysol wipe. And these kids aren't building up their immunity systems.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
all it does is break it down. All it does is break down your immune system. Yep.
Now they all walk around. They're always sniffing constantly. They're always sick. They're always going to the doctor, but it's too late. You destroyed your immune system. Now just go out and play in the dirt and get sick.
I totally agree with it.
And lick doorknobs.
Lick doorknobs all day. Drink out of the water hose.
We used to do that. I drink out of the water hose all the time. Even on a hot day, you get scorched. You get
and if there's any gum under the desk, take that gum and chew that gum.
There you go.
Like,
always.
When I was
ABC gum, man. ABC gum.
When I worked on the fishing boats and I was handling fish and bait and all that stuff, you could rinse your hands off a little bit, but we ate our sandwiches, everything, handling that stuff all day long.
Oh yeah, my gosh. Oh yeah.
It was like, I didn't think anything of it.
When our pioneers crossed this country, right, they knew that if they left Pennsylvania or they left New York and they were trying to get to Wyoming or get to Idaho somewhere or California, they knew that about 2/3 of their family were going to die on the way. But that's what we did. Not we, but that's what our country did. When we fought the Revolutionary War, dads were handing pitchforks to their 7-year-old daughter and say, go kill as many as you can. If you can kill one, that's what we were as a country. Yeah. We are the biggest wussified country. And it's a joke. I mean, these kids they're walking around in skinny jeans. They don't know if they're a he, she, it, they. Some of them think they're deer, and all this crazy idiocy is just all welcomed. It's like
I gotta bring up one thing. It's so funny, and you'll get a kick out of this, Flynn. Is I see a lot of women, and not so many guys, but the women that have the blue jeans with holes in them.
Yeah. Every
time I see that, I can hear my mother's voice, because as soon as my blue jeans had a hole in the knee, it was an embarrassment to have in the neighborhood.
Blow out on the toughskins, man. Blow out on the toughskins.
Either you get those off and let me get those patched up, or you're not going outside.
Oh my gosh, how many patches did I have on my knees? It was insane. If you had a hole, Mom said, I'm going to put a patch on that. And oh boy, you get a patch, and you were like so embarrassed because you had this ugly old, couch looking patch on there.
Yeah, my mom would always take the jeans and put them inside out and iron the patch on the inside of the knee and then throw them in there.
So you would not let your kid go outside with a hole in their pants.
Because that looked like a kid from the Depression.
That's right.
The younger generation doesn't remember that, right? So everybody thought you were. Yeah.
I love this hearing the old stories, but in times have changed. We totally understand that, and that makes it fascinating. So, but guys, we're running out of time.
Okay.
And
we are.
This has been a very educational. I really enjoy. Flynn, you've been a great kind of taking it the brand of things, because you're a younger generation. You didn't have any other women to back up yet.
Hey.
You handled it.
She can handle it. You're awesome, Flynn.
She doesn't need to share the stage.
Love you.
That's true. You handled it well, and it was really nice to have you and get your perspective on things.
Thank you.
And anyway, guys, next week we have no idea what we'll be talking about, but we always throw a little romance in it. But we also talk about some of the current things going on today and all that, and having the different perspectives is important. And don't forget to check out Flynn's show, which is called
In Like Flynn.
And don't forget
Tuesday
to check out
6:30.
Tuesday at 6:30
at Facebook.
On Facebook. Yeah. And John's show is tonight at 8:00 Pacific time.
That's correct.
And sounds like you got a hell of a show tonight. So we'll make sure.
Yeah, with the nurse.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Gotta go, guys. 6:32, right, Flynn?
Yeah, gotta go. You guys can stay on, but we gotta close the show out. So
Pacific.
Guys, thank you. And let me get it closed out here.